And I will share this recording with Ms. McCants, and she can forward it on to you if you want to watch this back or if somebody was not able to watch this. My contact information is on this slide too if you have any specific questions. And if you are on Twitter, be sure to give me a shout on Twitter. I did not put this on here, but anything you attend with Alabama Technology in Motion, if you don't mind putting hashtag ATMPD for Technology in Motion. I don't want to spend time introducing all of our people, but I will tell you we have some fantastic ones. And this is our lovely picture. And we even have our director here with us too, Keisha Hooks from the State Department. But I wanted you to know that Alabama Technology in Motion is so much more than just Schoology or just PowerSchool. These smart people train teachers all the time on how to use technology. So you can go to our website and you can find some tutorials, some ideas to assist you with remote learning and assist you with ways to engage students. So since a lot of you are in kind of a big room with the screen, these don't apply, but I did want to mention if you have somebody driving this session right now and you need to type something in the chat, be sure you click chat and type, and then there's also some reactions that you can do like a thumbs up. So these are some things that we're going to do in this training today. We're going to talk about the navigation, the vocabulary of Schoology. We're going to talk about the communication tools, the difference in courses versus groups, and then the tasks that you will do the most as a teacher, specifically adding materials, graded assignments and tests, and then lastly, we'll look at the Schoology PLP content. And I will give you some information for some resources that might help you out. So we're going to get started with navigation, and the best way for me to do this is going to be to share my screen and not follow the PowerPoint. So I'm actually going to kind of shift gears here and go into Schoology. It's going to be kind of a show and tell kind of environment. So I'm actually going to go to Schoology. So your folks will make sure you understand where you go to log in. Schoology.com is the easiest way to remember. That's where you'll log in and you will have credentials specific to your school system. It's either going to be a username or an email, and then you will log in. Now mine's going to look a little different because I am in the ALSDE Schoology account. But when you first log in to the account, you're going to see a recent activity tab. And it looks like a Facebook stream. This is going to be all of the people in your specific school, the things that they have done and added. So you're going to see some of the activity. It may be specific to your course. And so this is going to be just your landing space, but most people won't spend time there. You're going to want to go to your course dashboard. Your course dashboard is where you're going to see any course that you're a member of or any course that you've created. Now, I want to mention to you, if you're a teacher of the course, you're going to see this little yellow shield, means you are an admin or a teacher in that course. If you're just a member of that course, see, instructor is Ms. Foster. It's Carol Foster from our Auburn In-Service Center. I'm just a member, like a student in that course, so I don't see that shield. So this is just going to be some of your most recent courses on this course dashboard. Now, I did want to talk about the difference in courses versus groups. So when you are talking about groups, because that's going to be the next place we're going to look at, this is for communication and collaboration outside the classroom. This is a really unique feature. So you could have a grade level group that spans the entire district. You could have a group of K-2 teachers that share some resources. So this is going to be something you can use for clubs, for teams, for faculty, even for communicating with parents. Courses are for assignments, materials, grades. You can make announcements here. You will have a calendar associated with your course. So where you're probably going to live the most is going to be in your courses. So see right up here at the top, courses and groups, and then we will visit resources shortly. So as I land on recent activity and I maneuver over to course dashboard, I could just click directly into my course. Or if I wanted to, I can go over here to courses, see a little drop down of this dashboard. And also I want to bring your attention to where it says my courses. Now you're going to see this little my courses and my groups on the right of both of these top menu buttons. And this is important because you're only seeing a short snapshot of your course tiles when you click on courses. When you go to my courses, you're going to see a lot more in-depth listing of your courses. You'll see any course that you're a member of that has additional sections in it. And this is where you as a teacher could add a section, create a course, join a course, or even reorder your courses. Now that may not seem very important to you now, but if you accumulate several courses, you're a member of them, you're also teaching them, this reorder courses is going to be important. Joining a course may be important for you if one is created within your school for you, and then creating a course is going to be super important because that's going to be one of the first steps that you're going to take. All right, before we jump into that, I'm going to go ahead and finish this top menu here. The next button is groups. Now I mentioned groups are great for collaboration, but you're going to find that groups is also where you will be getting your content for schools PLP. In most cases, schools have created a group, and that group is filled with content folders that allow you as the teacher to go and import those into your courses. So groups are going to be important for that. And then see, I've also created my own teacher group so that I can share resources across that group. And so same kind of thing, my group's up there on the right. And now you see that list view. And you also have tabs that show that you have school groups and even public groups that you can be a member of. Public, notice that these are groups from everywhere. So if you're looking for something specific, it might be that you would join one of these groups and see what people are doing with Schoology all over the world. And notice this is where you'll go to join a group or to create a group. So you can create one or join one, and anytime you join a course or a group, you have an opportunity to put in an access code. That access code is going to make it very simple for you to join a group or a course. And our last button up here on the very top menu is resources. This is going to be another place you're going to spend a lot of time. So we've talked about courses. That's where assignments are. That's where the kids are going to end up going. We talked about groups. You're going to collaborate there. You can share things within that group. Resources is like your big filing cabinet. So you have some options over here. First of all, you're going to land on your personal resources. So anything I want to put here that is just for me and just for my classes, I would add to this home filing cabinet under my resources. Notice here, I have the opportunity to add all types of resources here and other options on reordering or arranging that collection of resources. Underneath that is public. Now this, again, like those public groups, is a huge gallery of resources that you might find helpful. You can search by subject, by resource type, by grade level. If you're looking for something specific, someone may have shared it publicly so everyone can get use out of it. So I really love that. And then group. So I have my ATEM teacher group, and notice that I've shared some resources with them so my colleagues can then pull that content into their course very easily. And then I mentioned Schools PLP. This is the group that we have called Course Content, and that is where I'm going to get anything that is loaded by the ALSDE for me to access. So that's where my school's PLP content lives. All right, so those are our top 3 buttons. And underneath there, we went over personal, public, and group resources. And now we're going to move over to these icons. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped this right here. This is another very important place for you to go. And this is apps. Now, I have people all the time say, we're doing Schoology. Does that mean I have to leave Google? Because I love Google. I love all of the things that I use in Google. You don't have to leave. As a matter of fact, it has made it super friendly to marry the two. And so you have some options for some resource apps that you can add here. I'm going to show you how to do that. And once you add the app, you will then need to pick your specific account that you want it linked to. And I have found that this will link to multiple accounts. I just simply log in and log out there under options. And if you have any other resources that you want to connect, you can connect those here as well. And that's under resources. All right, we have a good old search simply that allows you to search through your stuff and other people's stuff that you have access to. The other icons across the top here, these are apps that I have connected. Some of those may look familiar to you, but then you can go to the App Center and find any app that you might already have an account with or that your district has an account with, and you can connect that to your Schoology account. The one you're going to want to do the most is going to be the Google Drive Resource app and the Google Drive Assignments app. So notice here, all I would do is click that Install Resource app, and it will connect that app with me. And I just say agree to that. I already have the Google Drive Assignments app connected, and that's why you saw that one, and you can install it. So all of this, you just go through, you find the app that you think would be useful to you, and you click on and add that. And so I'm going to see, where it can be installed. It's a resource app, or it's an app that can be installed somewhere else in Schoology. Next up here is calendar. With every course that you create, you'll have access to calendars. Up here you have messages, and so messages are any kind of correspondence within Schoology. And so this is not your email, but I can send messages back and forth to my students or to my colleagues in this messages section. And then I have notifications. So anything that has been submitted by my students, anything that's been submitted in a group, I'm going to see those notifications there. Also, any requests, if anyone has requested to connect with me, like becoming a friend in this resource, then I can access them there as well. And over on the far right, you will see your profile, any schools that you're a member of, and then settings and subscriptions. So we're going to look just quickly at your profile. This is where you can make changes. So notice I put my Bitmoji there. You simply hover over it and edit the picture. You can add your own picture to personalize it. And this is going to allow you to add kind of your own little bio, activities and interests. So why would I want to do this? In case I wanted to connect with other educators using Schoology in the public galleries or whatever in the resources, I can do that, and they can click and see who I am, what I teach, where I teach. You have some other options over here. I'm being honest, I haven't explored those a lot, but you have the option to have a professional blog and also to have portfolios where you would add things and show those off. And so I'm being honest, I haven't really used those very much, but that is something that I would like to explore. Updates are mainly just updates or announcements that you wanted to put out there. They're not course specific, so it may be something that people would see under recent activities. All right, so those are all of the stuff across the top. I will mention though, as we go down in settings under your little icon there, this is where you can make some changes, including primary email, if you needed to change a password, if you needed to link accounts. So there's lots of things to do here. If everything is running smoothly, you probably will never have to even touch this section. All right, now let's look at what teachers do in Schoology. So I'm going to go to courses, and I'm going to choose my ATEM training demo course that I've created. Now, I'm going to be really honest, I fancied it up. So for those of you that like a Bitmoji, you like visuals, I tried a whole lot. You guys are my guinea pigs, by the way. You're my first Schoology group. And so I wanted to throw out all the bells and whistles. So you're going to find in your handout a lot of links I've put in there that will allow you to learn how to add a banner up there, how to add pictures to your folders, because I think one of the biggest challenges for you guys is going to be engaging your students in a virtual environment. So Schoology is highly organized. That's one of my favorite parts of it because I'm personally not highly organized. So I like that it can be organized, and I also like that you can add some information there that's visually pleasing. Just a side note, I put this here because if you are creating a banner like this, that was the recommended size for it. All right, so I have on our handy dandy handout that you will click on courses. You'll create your course if you need to go in and create your course, which that was right here under my courses. Create a course. You fill out a few items here. If it's going to be more than one section, then you would just go and add additional sections. And then you will choose the grading period and create. And so that is how I ended up with this course. When you create the course, you're going to have all of this stuff over here. I'm calling this our left navigation menu because you are going to be kind of figuring your way around this. Where you're going to live the most is materials. And that is this section right here, this middle section. You see over here that that's highlighted and everything else is grayed out. And so materials is where it lands. I have on our handout links to how to use Google Slides to make images like this. I call these folder covers. It's like a cover photo for your folder. How you can use the updates section to add a banner like this. And then some information on setting up the grade book, because that is a much longer discussion. But if you look on the handout, I do have a screenshot that talks about this left navigation menu. So when you are looking at the picture at the top of the course, if you hover over it, it's just a stock photo. When you create your course, you can edit the picture and put whatever you want there. That's going to become important because notice all of these courses, these tiles that show up, you're going to want to see the difference in them. So I've seen some people suggest that this tile is a period number or a homeroom teacher's name if they would see multiple teachers, however you want to do it, or it can be, you know, your face or something related to your subject. So you have that option there to make that change. And then this is going to have its own little drop down menu here as well. And so I've got that there. This is where you can view as, so you can view the course as a student if you have access to a student. You can edit the information about the course, and you can also edit the settings of the course. So you can do all of that in the course options. Materials is where you will land and spend most of your time. Updates is a good place for you to make announcements. And I have on our handout, as you go through there, you're going to see I've got you some links for more specifics on using these tools. But you know, within this left menu, you've got a lot of different options. And when I talk about updates, what I have found is that if I just type in this box, it's not as meaningful than if I type in this box and I click on this icon and check the box. That makes it an announcement, and that is going to have it show up at the very top. Notice in orange it says announcement. So that's going to be important because we know a lot of times students only look at the very top. So you do that in your updates section. Grade book and grade setup, I have a link to a video on how to address that. And these categories can be set up by you very easily. I'm not going to really address some of these other sections except for members. Members is going to be a list of all of the people that are a part of your class. So I have some people right now. I have Brooke and Elizabeth in as students, but then other people in as teachers. And the way you can make changes there is you can add or remove someone and make them an admin in the class, which means make them a teacher. So it might be that you are team teaching with someone and both of you are the admins in the class, or you may include a special ed teacher, an EL teacher. Anyone can join your class and be able to see and be a part of what you're doing, but not be considered a student. So there's where you'll see, and this is also where you're going to see that access code. So we talked about joining. Now, in most cases, your technology department, your curriculum folks will work together, and once your schedule is set, your course shells will pull over into Schoology. And once that happens, the members will be populated because they'll be pulled from your school information system. So you may never need to add members other than adding additional teachers to that class. All right, so that is kind of covering that left menu. You'll be addressing some things there, not as often as you will be in this materials page. So we are going to look now at materials. I did want to take just a breath and see if my ATEM people need to interrupt me. Are there any questions in the chat or anything that I need to address? Or if any of you in the room need to unmute or holler out a question, you can do that now. Let me take a minute and ask if we need any help. All right, then, you know, hey, I say at that point, either we're all together or we're all deer in the headlights. So I promise I am going through this at a faster pace than I would like, but I want you to have exposure to all of this, the navigation, the vocabulary. I really think the handout is going to help guide you when you log into Schoology and you do what I call kick the tires of a new program. So we're going to jump right in and look at adding materials. So underneath my little announcement banner up there at the top, I have these three buttons. I have add materials, and then I have a whole slew of opportunities to add some materials to my course for my students. Next to that, I have options, and this is going to be very important to you. If you want to require a student to at least view or complete or submit something within a folder before they move on, you're going to want to look at student completion rules. And then you also have a student progress button. So as your students start progressing through your class, you're going to start seeing these percentages move. And that's going to be a great way for you to see where they are if they haven't done anything, and then you can reach out and work with them. Okay, so I want to mention, just because I inadvertently clicked there at the top, if you click on anything here, it is going to drill down into the course. So this cover picture that I made for the folder, this or the folder itself, the name of the folder can be clicked. Either one, it will take you into that folder. Okay, so I have my course set up, first of all, with this What to Expect in Ms. Caldwell's class. And I have out to the side what kind of material this is. This is a page. So if I go to add materials, one of the options I have is a page. Now, this is the box that you're going to see most often when you're going to create a page. You would give it a name. And then you have all of these very familiar tools, formatting tools that we all know and love. You have the ability to add a hyperlink in here, a table, which is really nice because it'll keep everything in line. Those of you that like graphics and buttons and things like that, the table is going to be your friend because it aligns everything up nicely. You can change the size of the text. But what you're going to find is that you're going to utilize this button that says Insert Content. And you're also going to utilize some of these buttons at the bottom to create this page. So notice I can put a lot of different things here, images, links, symbols, equations, and then it also pulls up some of those resources. That's going to put everything right there on the page. If I utilize these at the bottom, they are going to appear more as an attachment. So think about that when you are creating the page. And there is a difference when I'm ready to add this. I'm going to want to choose display in line. And so let me show you, I believe that is, there we go. You have the choice of display on new page or display in line. If I say display on new page, it looks like a link. If I say in line, which is what my page looks like here, you're going to see everything on the page right there. So you have that choice when it comes to pages. What you're probably going to do a lot of is adding folders. So I put the page at the top there because that might be kind of your, here's what I expect from this class. And then you're going to want to organize into folders and subfolders. And so when you go to add a folder, you very simply give the folder a name. I think we already have weeks 1, 2, and 3. I can give it a color. I can give it a description if I want. It will show it there. I can say what date I want that folder to go live and what date I want it to end. And I can choose published or unpublished. And so that's also going to be something important to you, as you may not want the entire course visible to your students. You may want to unpublish or hide those folders until you're ready for the students to see them. So that is something you're going to see in a lot of instances, that publish and unpublish opportunity. All right, so I've got a folder here. I made the folder, has a little image there. And when I click into that folder, I have plenty of other types. And so if you look on my next little screenshot, for some reason, it is not pulling my full screenshot up there, but it allows me to show that you've got folders, you've got assignments, you've got things that can be graded or things that are just handouts. So you have lots of opportunities to add different types of materials. And so all of these, you can play around with them. Most of the time, you guys are going to be adding files, links or external tools, and you're going to be adding assignments. Those are probably going to be 2 of your most frequent materials that you'll be adding. So here I have added an assignment at the very top. And when I go to add assignment, I've got all of these options. And so I can name it, I can give it that same description. You see, you've got that same button from a previous spot where you can add all of these things. And then this is where it gets interesting. If you have Google Drive, OneDrive, any of these things linked, then it will let you pull straight from there. So very similar, if you've been using Google Classroom, you can make an assignment and pull anything from your Google Drive and attach it to this assignment. You'll notice too that some of these due dates are grayed out. That is because I have some completion rules on this folder. So once completion rules are set, the due date part is not as significant because the students have to do things in order. You will have to choose a category, grading period, and then your grade scale. And you can create rubrics. It's a very good rubric maker if you are a fan of rubrics. Across the bottom here too, you have some options. You can individually assign something. So if you did adapt something for a special ed student or whatever, you can do that here. You can lock the assignment. You would need to make sure submissions are enabled. So if you want them to be able to submit it, that has to be turned on. And this says publish or unpublish. So I make the assignment. I may not want it live quite yet. And then comments is something that you may also want to do. And you can also copy this to other courses. So once you're done with all of that, you will click create. And I'm going to show you what this one looks like. So this did not have anything attached like from Google Drive. It is simply my instructions, a couple of pictures. And when I go to view course as, I can choose a student and see what it looks like on the student end. So I would drill down in there and look for that assignment and see what it looks like on the student end. Now, we did discover that you're not seeing the submission button here, but on the student end, you will see a button for them to submit their assignment. Now, because I'm viewing this as a student, I'll need to go back to the course, and that takes me back to the admin part of the course. And I'll go back into this elementary folder. Now, on our handout, you'll see I made a couple of important suggestions to you. One, as you go into your class, further into the class, you will see what I'm calling breadcrumbs up here at the top. So if I click on elementary, it takes me back one level. If I click on the name of the course, it takes me back to the very top of the course. That's going to be helpful as you start drilling into some of these. Then you're going to see you go further and further into all of these different things you're going to want to use your breadcrumbs. New folders. When I add a new folder, it automatically goes to the bottom. So you will want to reposition things. So if I wanted this to be at the top, then I can click and drag. I have found there are some things that either don't want to drag, they're stubborn. It may be if they're in a PLP folder that they don't like you reordering things. But overall, folders are very easy to drag. And then I did find like that this page was not something that was easy to drag. Oh, there we go. Sometimes you just have to, I don't know, hold your mouth right to make it work, I guess. And so going through some of these other things with sections, you can publish and unpublish things, and you can do that over here on the right. So that unpublished option is there as well. You can decide how to organize your class. There's a great Schoology help page on the student completion rules. And then I linked you to a really good slideshow on each of these kinds of materials, like assignments, quizzes, files, all of those. What is going to be important to you is setting up those graded assignments. And so when you are looking at your handout, I have a screenshot on the handout, not actually on this, that talks about those graded assignments. And this screenshot is kind of my best gift to you on preparing for the assignments. And so you can import your images, other attachments here, some of the resources that you can attach, and then those buttons that I mentioned at the bottom. So you will be creating a lot of those. I have some links here for OneDrive, Google Drive, and Kami, if those are things that you might be using. And then I also have a link to a YouTube video on how students submit assignments. So I think that that's important. If you're like me, it's one thing to send it out into the internet and assume that it looks a certain way, but I like that this teacher takes you through the submission process for students. I do have a section on here talking about the difference in assessments versus tests and quizzes. And so when we're looking here at materials, we have a test and a quiz or an assessment. So my best explanation is that assessments is their newer tool. It has a lot of really nice bells and whistles. You can set up when you want this to go live. You can even have a password. You set up your categories and everything else, and you create. It's going to open up their assessment generator. And so I can set up the instructions. Notice all of these different settings that are available to you. Once you save those settings, then you'll go straight to the question part, and you can simply add pretty much any kind of question you can think of. So my thoughts when it comes to assessments is that you might work with other teachers to build a few quizzes and assessments, share those. You know, you may already have some things that you love, and you can go in and you can add those questions. And so I will tell you, I spent some time today because I'm all about making things as quick and easy as possible. And I'm not going to lie to you. This is not a quick and easy process. It makes a really nice assessment, but it's not quick and easy because I have to individually write each question and each answer. Copy and paste. You could do that if it's a longer question, but you're probably going to take as much time copying and pasting into here. But really a lot of nice features when it comes to utilizing this assessment piece. Now, let me show you the difference in that versus tests and quizzes. Okay, so I'm going to have all of the same options here. So you can see that this one, not as pretty, not as shiny. I click add question. I have quite a few options here. And your setting and things like that happen up there across the top. Now on your handout, I've given you some tips on if you want some hacks or some shortcuts. I would say check out these videos and some of these ideas. So it did allow me to do an import, but it's not just any old pull in a Word document or a PDF. Unfortunately, you have to put it in a specific format. And so I've given you that information in this handout, and you can simply click this and it's going to open up and have you search for that file. In this case, it's a zip file. And I actually successfully added a quiz in a much shorter amount of time, but it did take a little bit of effort. So just to let you know, there are some shortcuts, but I will say that they are not super easy shortcuts. And so I cannot remember if I put that in class, but basically it's just a very simple multiple choice question test. And then I put on there under number 5 on the handout, math teachers. I did find a video of a guy who used screenshots and create his quizzes that way. So that is something to think about. I give you some other tips before we jump into the school PLP content, talking about creating a course and some content and then copying that whole course to resources. So you'll want to do this especially at the end when you want to copy this and reuse it. You can copy the whole thing into resources and then pull that entire course you created into the course shell that is made for you. So I would encourage you to go ahead and start working on your course, even if you don't have shells ready yet, and do that step that I have linked here about copying the whole course into resources, and then you can simply import that into that course shell. All right, so getting to the school's PLP content, you will go to groups, and then wherever your district has housed that PLP content, you will go to that group. Okay, so this group under course content, I'm going to need to go to resources to access that folder with all of that content in it. So I have sort of my information on the handout talking about importing your information. And I did want to mention that I wouldn't recommend putting an entire folder into your class. So if I go K-5 and I look at 2nd grade and I choose language arts, I don't recommend that you put that entire language arts class into your class yet. I recommend that you pull in small chunks. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. And I have a video linked from Montgomery County Schools showing you this process. It's very helpful. So let's say that we wanted some of these lessons in here, and you can drill all the way into it and look for each of these items. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the header of this lesson, and I know that I want this in my course. I'm gonna use the gear over there on the right, and that's on a screenshot on your handout. I'm gonna say add to course. It's gonna ask which course I want it in. And then it's going to ask me the folder. Now, here's why I say do not pull everything over. Look at all of this. I pulled in an entire physical science folder, and it's a hot mess, to use my phrase. So drill down and grab just the folders that you need as you need them, because this list is going to get very long. So I'm actually going to put this into this additional section. I don't have any folders there, so I'm just going to add, and it will take a little while depending on how much content is in that folder, and it will add it to that particular class. I know I have to wrap up really quickly, and I hate that because I haven't really talked a lot about the PLP content. There's 2 pages of the content itself and what you need to know about it. But I think the most important thing, and I have like 2 or 3 things marked as important. The most important thing for you to understand when it comes to that content and how you're going to use it is that it is like a digital textbook. You're going to see teach it, read it, play it, some really, really good resources. But when you get to something like this one called Show It, and it has a resource that allows the student to practice, I want you to know that when they practice, you do not get any record of this practice. It does not send it to you. So you will need to find a way to supplement this practice with a graded assignment. So for example, if a student starts pulling things over here, they can't finish it until they get all of them green. So they're going to get the practice. There's a PDF embedded here too, and they can't manipulate that PDF. So you can download that PDF and you can attach it into a graded assignment, which is what I ended up doing. I made a graded assignment called Sequence, and I attached those PDFs. So it's going to be important that you don't feel like you're going to be able to set up your course all at once. You've got to do it in small chunks and focus on a week at a time. So I really do hate to cut this off at this point because I feel like we've just scratched the surface. But hopefully I've given you enough information so that you can now do what I say, which is kick the tires on this program, play around with the content. And if the handout, if there's something you feel like is missing or there's a link that's incorrect, feel free to email me if you have any questions about this, and I'll do my best to help you. And I do want to say good luck to you guys. You are in uncharted territory, and I want to help you any way that I can. So this is my email address on here as well, and I appreciate you guys being here today. I'm about to start the secondary meeting, so thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much, Brandy. We really appreciate it.